After enduring years of toxic behaviour from my stepmother, the situation escalated recently, prompting my wife and I to cut ties with her completely. My stepmother, who fancied herself as a party planner, has always taken charge of every family event since marrying my father. Despite her controlling nature, I tolerated her antics for my father's sake, as he believed it helped her feel included in our family. However, when it came to planning my upcoming wedding with my fiancée Ella, my stepmother's interference became unbearable. She constantly complained, meddled with our wedding planner, and even showed up unannounced at Ella's dress fittings. We had asked her multiple times to step back, but to no avail. My father, unfortunately, wanted us to appease her to keep the peace. Tensions reached a breaking point last Sunday. My father had agreed to babysit at our home while we were out. We returned to find a chaotic scene. Both children were crying, and my stepmother was in a full rage. She had exploded upon learning that William, Ella's 4-year-old half-brother whom we are raising, and our son would both be ring bearers at the wedding. She vehemently objected, claiming William wasn't real family, and even physically hurt him during her outburst. We were shocked and heartbroken. Immediately, we banned her from our home and the upcoming wedding. My father was upset and, influenced by my stepmother, even convinced some family members to side with her and boycott our wedding. Despite the pressure from some family members to reconcile, Ella and I stood firm in our decision, prioritizing the safety and well-being of our children. I've come to realize that protecting my family must come first, even if it means having a strained relationship with my father. We have since pressed charges against my stepmother after confirming William's injuries with a general paediatrician and reviewing nanny cam footage. While we have limited contact with my father and continue to navigate this challenging time, our focus remains steadfast on healing and moving forward with our lives. This experience has solidified our resolve to maintain boundaries and to not tolerate harmful behaviour, regardless of familial ties. Ella and I are committed to a peaceful and loving environment for our children, and we will not compromise on their safety and happiness. It's important to share that while my family deeply respects my dad, their feelings toward my stepmother are quite mixed. She had 2 failed marriages before she met my dad. Her earlier relationship ended dramatically when she left her boyfriend for my father, a boyfriend who was well liked by everyone in our family. This certainly didn't help stepmother's case, and her controlling and manipulative demeanour only worsened their perception of her. Stepmother attempted to assert herself in our family by overtaking every event planning role she could, thriving on the attention and praise that came with it. This caused many family gatherings, like Christmas and our birthdays, to feel overshadowed by her presence. The rest of the family remained largely indifferent, though they never really warmed up to her. However, her behaviour towards William, my nephew, was perhaps the most telling. Despite the family's instant affection for William, stepmother seemed resentful, likely feeling overshadowed due to her own strained acceptance within the family. When wedding plans were underway, stepmother's attempts to dominate were thwarted. She wanted to be overly involved, even suggesting she officiate, despite us already having someone else in mind. Her suggestions, including wanting my father to walk my bride down the aisle instead of her own brother, who we had chosen, were seen as attempts to insert herself where she was not wanted. The final straw was a concerning incident involving William, which led to a family fallout. My father and stepmother denied any wrongdoing, but the family knew the truth and sided with us, except for a few who chose to stay out of the conflict. This division has been painful, particularly as it has led to cutting ties with certain family members who refuse to see the situation clearly. Despite these challenges, our immediate family and Ella's relatives have been incredibly supportive, providing us with the emotional and logistical support we needed. It has been tough, and the journey of healing for William and coming to terms with our family dynamics continues. Through all of this, Ella and I have found strength in each other and in the love from those who truly support us. We're moving forward, cautious but hopeful, cherishing the peace we've managed to secure amidst the chaos. During this challenging period, I've been grappling with intense emotions, and the weight of them has left me struggling to find peace. Ella, my partner, has been recovering steadily and is encouraging me to start therapy. While I've had psychiatric help when I was younger, revisiting therapy now seems timely given everything we're facing. Despite some well-meaning advice from outsiders to reconcile, forgiving my father and especially wedding planning is something I can't see myself doing. My father's possibility of forgiveness remains uncertain, but forgiving stepmother is completely off the table. Even though our wedding planning continues amidst these personal upheavals, we're steadfast in keeping our original date. It suits our guests, and we've made our arrangements clear with our vendors to avoid any unwanted interference. Ella's family is more involved in our wedding due to their close-knit nature. My family, though less involved, still participates meaningfully. My sister will be a bridesmaid, 2 of my cousins are groomsmen, and my mother will join the wedding procession. Going through these motions with Ella has only deepened my appreciation for her. She's truly the partner I've always hoped for, and facing these adversities together has only solidified our bond. An unexpected situation arose when we had to attend a court hearing concerning wedding planning, his actions towards our child. It was the first time we'd seen wedding planning, and my father since the incident. Thankfully, the hearing was swift. The judge granted us a restraining order against wedding planning due to the overwhelming evidence we presented, including nanny cam footage and medical records. This decision has brought us a great sense of relief and security. Later, my father reached out. Despite the restraining order not extending to him, his conversation attempted to downplay wedding planning's actions and plead her case. However, I stood firm, recounting numerous instances where wedding planning had overstepped boundaries or behaved inappropriately, not just recently, but throughout our history with her. This conversation reaffirmed my decision to distance ourselves from her toxic influence. My sister has also decided to cease contact with our father, concluding that he is unlikely to change. This realization is painful but necessary as we prioritize the well-being and safety of our family. Now, with these matters momentarily settled, I find myself contemplating sharing more stories about our experiences with wedding planning, though this may take some time. As always, I extend my best wishes to everyone and appreciate the ongoing support. I might not update again until after the wedding unless something significant occurs. During this emotional and hectic time, the news of our expected baby didn't seem to stir much interest in wedding planning initially, especially compared to her enthusiasm for my stepbrother's engagement, who she hoped would provide her with a grandchild soon. Our own baby shower planning was already complex, as Ella and I were working up until the holidays, with our baby due in January 2023. We settled on an early January baby shower and decided it would be a cozy, co-ed event held indoors, considering the cold weather. We planned a laid-back pizza party theme since homemade pizza nights had become a cherished tradition in our home. The idea was to have fun without excessive spending, as we were saving for the baby and our upcoming wedding. The event venue we chose had a pizza oven, and our planners, my sister Ava and Ella's best friend Mia, came up with creative ideas to blend pizza-themed decorations with classic baby shower elements like customizable plain bodysuits for kids and pizza-shaped sweets. However, when my stepbrother's fiancée unexpectedly left him, wedding planning's focus shifted dramatically towards our baby shower. With her own grandparent dreams delayed, she suddenly transformed into an overzealous grandmother-to-be. She started posting excessively about it on social media, and even bought Nana shirts. Despite our insistence on no gender reveal and our decision to not learn the baby's sex until birth, wedding planning pressed us to find out and share the information as a Christmas gift. We stood firm on our privacy. She attempted to involve herself in the baby shower planning, suggesting to my father that she should help, which he relayed to Ava. Out of politeness and because Ava still lived with them at the time, she agreed to meet wedding planning for coffee. During this meeting, wedding planning presented a lavishly detailed plan from a binder she had prepared, which was more suited to an extravagant party than our casual gathering. Her vision included oversized teddy bears, giant alphabet blocks, and a strict pink and gold colour scheme that screamed excess rather than comfort. The proposed menu featured items Ella couldn't eat, like soft cheeses, and the setup included uncomfortable seating. Wedding planning insisted on an all-female, child-free party with upscale caterers and alcohol, excluding important family members from the guest list, and planning games that no one was interested in. Once Ava and Mia finally had a chance to present their simpler, pizza party-themed plan, they tried to compromise by incorporating some of wedding planning's ideas. But the core of the event remained unchanged. As the baby shower approached, we managed to integrate a bit of the decor wedding planning liked by balancing her preferred pink with some blue, and including one of the oversized teddy bears she favoured. By the week of the shower, everything was set, guests had confirmed, and we were ready for a joyful celebration focused on love and family, not extravagance. Wedding planning got involved on the day of the event, helping to set up early at the venue, a concession made to keep peace. In the end, the baby shower was a delightful blend of our laid-back style and a touch of the fanciful elements wedding planning liked, showing that, even in challenging family dynamics, compromises could be found. The important thing was that Ella and I were surrounded by loved ones as we celebrated the upcoming arrival of our baby, anchored in our values and preferences. 3 days before our baby shower, an unexpected twist emerged. The venue called Mia to report that wedding planning had dropped off several heavy boxes early, claiming they contained a little surprise for the event. She had informed the venue staff of her intention to arrive at 4 to 10 p.m. to start setting up. However, since the venue was booked only from 3:10 p.m. onwards, this plan was a concern, especially as wedding planning had nearly thrown a fit when informed that all official decor was still with Mia. Concerned about wedding planning's intentions, my sister Ava, who was quite adept at handling wedding planning's antics, visited the venue the next day to inspect the boxes. Unsurprisingly, they were filled with the overly pink frilly decorations wedding planning had initially proposed, balloons, placemats, and all sorts of pink paraphernalia that echoed the Barbie hell theme she seemed fond of. Realising wedding planning's plan to preemptively decorate the venue with her setup, Ava and Mia brainstormed how to handle the situation without causing a scene. Discarding wedding planning's decorations was an option, but Ava had a more tactful solution. She invited wedding planning to a salon, leveraging a fabricated story about having coupons, planning their outing right after wedding planning finished her setup. On the day of the shower, wedding planning arrived at the venue early as planned and quickly set up her pink wonderland by 6:10 p.m. Once she left for the salon with Ava, Ella, Mia and I headed to the venue. We had 5 hours to transform the space. We swiftly dismantled wedding planning's setup, replacing everything with our pizza party theme, laid back, fun, and devoid of overwhelming pink. We managed to redo the venue just in time for the shower, keeping the atmosphere light and enjoyable with pizza-making activities and casual decor. The guests began to arrive, and by the time wedding planning returned with Ava, the place was completely transformed. Wedding planning's reaction was one of shock and disbelief, barely able to comprehend the absence of her pink decorations. Ava, maintaining a cool demeanour, simply whispered, "Nice try," to wedding planning, leaving her to process the change. The baby shower turned out to be a wonderful evening filled with laughter, crafts, and plenty of pizza. Although wedding planning spent most of the event sulking in a corner, her efforts to sneak pink bows onto the cupcakes were quickly thwarted by Mia. The day was a success thanks to Ava and Mia's quick thinking and our collective efforts to keep the party true to our vision. Post-shower wedding planning, as enthusiasm for her role as Nana waned significantly. She stopped wearing the Nana shirts, didn't visit us at the hospital, and generally withdrew from engaging with our new family dynamic. The event made it clear that our family celebrations would remain on our terms, reflecting our preferences and inclusive of those who genuinely support us. In the weeks following the baby shower, wedding planning's presence in our lives diminished significantly, and it was weeks before she discovered our baby was a boy during a brief and awkward visit. This encounter only underscored her superficial connection to her role as a grandmother, a role she never genuinely embraced or defined. The baby shower itself took place at 8:10 p.m, a timing dictated more by venue availability and the need for ample setup time than by preference. It turned out to be a gathering mostly of adults, as William was the youngest there, with other children being much older. Many parents opted to leave early, which kept the atmosphere relatively relaxed and adult-oriented. This wasn't exactly a child-free event, but it was tailored to accommodate the guests who could attend, acknowledging that not everyone on our guest list could make it. Fast forward to recent times, wedding planning has effectively exited our lives, which feels like a tremendous relief. Ella and I recently tied the knot, transitioning to calling each other husband and wife, a change we're both savouring. The wedding was a beautiful celebration, filled with joy, family reunions, and plenty of dancing, so much so that I was sore the next day. William, ever the responsible ring bearer, took great care in his duties, and despite a little overindulgence from my aunt, the day unfolded smoothly. It's been 4 months since we secured the restraining order against wedding planning, and peace has largely been restored, though not perfectly so. I didn't anticipate wedding planning would risk showing up at our wedding given the legal restrictions, and she didn't. We had prepared for all eventualities with adequate security measures, a decision I don't regret as it ensured our special day was undisturbed. Our only recent contact with my stepbrother was an exchange of birthday wishes and a text to Ella on her birthday, maintaining a cordial but distant relationship. My father, on the other hand, has stopped trying to reach out after multiple failed attempts and a significant fallout with my sister, who has chosen to limit contact after their last heated argument. This argument laid bare long-standing grievances, with my father unyieldingly defending wedding planning. Despite everything, there remains a complicated love for my father, a door not fully closed, but no longer open as it once was. He knows the steps necessary to mend our relationship, but until then, my sister and I continue to navigate our lives with the support of each other and our families, cherishing the tranquility that has followed our firm boundaries. I'm not entirely convinced he will change, but I'm holding on to a sliver of hope, perhaps due to my wife's influence. I'm naturally more skeptical, but maybe there's value in keeping that hope alive. Ella hasn't forgiven him or wedding planning, especially because of how protective she is over William. This whole ordeal has rattled her deeply, and there was a moment when I feared she might blame me. That fear was put to rest humorously when she called me a dumbass for even suggesting it. Therapy has been a surprising journey for me. It has opened my eyes to just how negatively wedding planning's behaviour impacted me growing up, more than I ever admitted to myself before. It's been incredibly freeing to express these long-buried feelings. Right now, life feels more fulfilling than I ever imagined. I've married an amazing woman and have the family I've always wanted. We're not without our flaws, but life has turned out to be wonderfully generous to me. I thought I would be less active on Reddit after settling down, but it turns out I've got a bit more to share, thanks to the unexpected support from the community here. Your advice and kindness over these past months have been invaluable. So, while I initially thought this update would be my last, there's a bit more to tell. Earlier today, my stepbrother reached out to me. After a heated argument with wedding planning, he wants to meet for coffee, just the two of us, to talk things over. We're scheduled to meet on Wednesday, and while I'm open to hearing him out, any apology will need to be backed by a real understanding of how he let us down. On a logistical note, Ella and I are off to our honeymoon this Friday, so I've decided to push back the meetup with my stepbrother. I want to enjoy our time away without the shadow of this meeting hanging over us. He was understanding, and we've agreed to talk after I return. Final update. It's been a while since I've been active here due to work commitments, but I know some of you are curious about how things have been with my stepbrother. We finally met for that coffee back in August. It turns out wedding planning had lied to him about several incidents involving William, painting a false picture that led to their argument. That confrontation with reality prompted my stepbrother to start questioning his relationship with wedding planning and everything he'd been led to believe about us. Over the last few months, we've been cautiously rebuilding our relationship, meeting regularly to discuss the past and heal. Ella joined these meetings in October, and our kids reconnected with him just 3 weeks ago. It was awkward at first, but we're finding our way back to a good place. He's also making amends with my sister, and they've been working through their shared history. As for our personal updates, William turned 5 in September, and our youngest will be 3 in January. Time really flies. We're spending the holidays with Ella's family in Brazil, which we're looking forward to. My stepbrother will be staying with his girlfriend, and things on that front are looking up.